Welcome to another lesson on the subjunctive. Today we will take a look at subjunctive with verbs which express wishes and influence. You may refer to your book's Exploraciones on the pages numbers 51 and 52. The objectives of this video is to talk about verbs which express desire and influence in the indicative tense and in the subjunctive tense. We'll also look at the structure of these verbs, and then we would study another word which is not a verb but is a word, just one word, which can be used to form sentences to express desire and influence in the subjunctive. Let's get started. Now we have examples of verbs which are used with the subjunctive to express desire and influence. So we have aconsejar, to advise; dejar, to allow; desear, to desire; esperar, to hope or to wish; insistir, en, to insist on something; and then mandar, to order; necesitar, to need; pedir, to ask for or to request; permitir, to permit or to allow; and then we have preferir, to also prefer; prohibir, to prohibit or to forbid; and then we have querer, to want; recomendar, to recommend; and then sugerir, to suggest. Now, examples of verbs that are used to express desire and influence are listed here, but we'll look at the indicative first. Usually, if we use a verb which is used to express desire or influence in the indicative, we would have to use them before an infinitive verb. Okay. Or if we use the verb, then we have to use an infinitive to go after it. Okay. Now we have examples. Noah quiere ir al centro comercial. Noah wants to go to the mall. Okay. Now, because querer is used in the indicative tense, we don't need to use a verb in the subjunctive after it. What comes right after it is a verb in the infinitive. So Noah wants to go to the mall. Preferimos comer con palillos. We prefer to eat with chopsticks. And we have los padres de Ana prohíben fumar. Now, Anna's parents prohibit smoking. Now, we're looking at the subjunctive with verbs that express desire or influence. Now, unlike the indicative, where you would have an infinitive that comes right after the verb which expresses desire, in the subjunctive you would have to use the verb conjugated in the subjunctive tense. Okay. But before then, there has to be a verb which is in the infinitive. Okay. Now, there is also a specific subject for each verb. We would note here that Noah quiere ir al centro comercial. Noah wants to go to the mall. Noah is the same person who is doing the wanting and is doing the going. Okay, so one subject for two verbs. Now, in the subjunctive, we have a different subject for each verb. So the first sentence we have Noah quiere que su primo vaya al centro comercial. We have the first subject of the sentence being Noah, who is doing the wanting, and that he wants his cousin to go to the mall. So the first for the first verb we have querer, which expresses desire. This is the verb that will be conjugated in the infinitive, in the present indicative tense. And then the second verb, vaya, the one who's doing, fulfilling the desire of the first subject, would be conjugated in the subjunctive. Second example, preferimos que nuestros amigos coman con palillos. Now, we prefer, we are the subject, nosotros, because it's not written here, it is implied in the verb that the subject is preferimos. So, preferimos que nuestros amigos, so they are doing the eating with chopsticks, whereas we are the ones who prefer that they eat with chopsticks. So the subject for the verb preferir is we, nosotros, and then the subject of the verb comer is our friends. Well, we also mentioned that we're going to look at a word which is used to express desire or influence, which is ojalá. Now, we use that to express desire, and we use it with a sentence or with something in the subjunctive. Now, ojalá doesn't need a subject to go with it, and that every time you use ojalá, you'd have to use a verb in the subjunctive mood. So examples: ojalá Noah vaya al centro comercial. I hope that Noah goes to the mall. So even though in Spanish we don't have a specific subject to you, when you use ojalá, it is implied that you're doing the hoping or the wishing, or you're expressing the desire for someone else to do something. In this case, Noah, or someone is doing the hoping or expressing the desire for Noah to go to the mall. Second sentence: ojalá podamos comer con palillos. I wish that we could eat with chopsticks. Then we have ojalá tus amigos te feliciten. I hope that your friends congratulate you. Well, this brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you, and hasta la próxima.